Has anyone else ever felt like this world is a bunch of just like agreeing with the majority or whatever one community group people say, like whether that be society, governments, but it's never been about actually thinking for oneself? I feel like throughout life, I've always, and perhaps this has something that I've come into more and more as I've questioned a lot of things, whether that be my upbringing in terms of religion, in terms of politics, in terms of preconceived notions of the world. I realized, oh my, it's this is what society is telling me, and in this case, since I was born, raised here in the U.S., but most importantly, in part of Western society and cultures, I've often believed a lot of these ideas that were rooted in lies, right? So it makes me realize that much of the world often comes into there's this one set way and or similar views and perspectives on how and what the world is like, whether that be views on certain communities, views on certain religions, and it's never ever questioning those, or very very little times do people decide to be like, oh well, I don't know about that. Is it just because this society or this environment, the environment that I grew up in, has told me such, has taught me to believe in such, or am I actually taking the time to understand, these other perspectives and views that exist around the world? Because it's interesting to see how, the West has essentially been the voice for all communities, all people around the globe, when these individuals, I can say without a doubt, probably never grew up in these environments in which they're judging, criticizing, and telling a story of a people that they are not from and of. So that already has diminished the credibility there, where it's like, why has the West always been the voice of the world? Why aren't we allowing for these countries, these, whether different communities, people that have different traditions, have different religions, have different perspectives, and see things from a different angle? Why aren't we allowing them to speak? Because they're going to be able to shine light on what their truth is, just like we or people in the West have their own truth, and naturally have always been in complete opposition or challenged. And this is not only about challenging Western perspectives, but also perspectives from around the world. And I've always been more or less of a devil's advocate, where I'm just like, I can see this perspective and that, but it's like, I feel like there is really no true truth. There is different perspective, different views, but if you listen closely, you can see like, that makes sense. Like, shoot, that's crazy. Like, how is that being how has that been acceptable? How have we been able to villainize certain communities or people groups around the world and think that's humane, or think that's okay? And how does that embody humanity? Most importantly, if you're a person that says you embody goodness, or you're a person that has compassion, empathy, like it just never made sense to me how the West says, oh yeah, we are model citizens, which is so, it's ludicrous. Perhaps many people have good intentions, and naturally we can't speak for all of the people that live within a specific region, but when the governments, and naturally the governments benefit from this. But here's the thing too, the West has been able to benefit off the many wars, all the instability that they've created around the globe, right? And also from colonization. So when all is said and done, it's been a very selfish, a very selfish endeavor. And And people are okay with it as long as their lives are good and as long as they have a roof over their heads and they are able to access all the things. But don't remind them of, you know, the endless ugly things that are happening across the globe. Because, well, they don't, you know, people don't want to know. People want to be oblivious to it. And that's where things are just wrong and they're evil. They're exactly that. That's why I never agreed with how the West navigates the world. And I don't believe in this, oh, they're the ones that we should be like. That's ridiculous. That's exactly what colonization has always been about. This, oh, follow us, follow our religion, follow our beliefs, be like us, assimilate to us. And it's no. People want, first and foremost, are people. They're individuals. And may they find their own identity, and may they find the pride in where they come from and who they are. Unfortunately, colonization has played a role in leading people to question who they are and thinking that they should be something that they are not. So it's a horrible, ugly thing because it goes beyond that. It extends all the way to war, right? Where many countries have had endless instability, that being like the Middle East. And, you know, we don't take a moment to realize, oh shoot, like we can't be preaching ethicality, morality, and that we, you know, follow Christ, and, you know, and the West has essentially tried to claim Christianity. But when in the Bible, it specifically talks about the fruits of the Spirit. It talks about, you know, loving thy neighbor. It talks about embodying fundamental things that are about love. And there is no love in war. There is no love in hatred. There's no love in racism, in colorism, all these ugly, evil things. So, and I guess I'm going to tear up, or I feel, because I find that although I don't believe in like Christ or religion, organized religion, most importantly, and I don't believe in a divine one because I don't have proof for it. I don't believe in just blindly following, hence, you know, my perceptions and questioning and naturally opposing many views that, and because it's never made sense. Things that are always put forth never make sense. How can I blindly follow? Like, that's essentially telling me and allowing for me to be okay with blindly following, let's say, governments that are evil, blindly following societies or people that are evil and continue to propel evil. And that may look different to, you know, different people. But to me, like when they spew racism, prejudice, colorism, that to me is evil. How can I follow people like that, right? How can I be okay with trusting people like that? So, so to me, you know, backing away from all of that and saying, you know, I'm going to think for myself. I'm going to analyze, observe, and understand, like, most importantly, like, actions speak louder than words. If your actions are not matching up, which to me that has been the West, there is no reason for me to stand in solidarity with continuously propelling colonization, which has caused so much havoc globally. So to me, to see, you know, a world that is at peace, and it doesn't matter who they are and what they believe in, but just like is my idea of ideal. Oof, my eyelashes. Ooh, or my eyelashes always fall, but you know, like, to me, there's no way that I can sit, you know, silently and let things just go by. And I feel like a lot of people that do that are people that essentially have had the privilege to do that, right? They've had haven't experienced perhaps that many challenges. But one thing's for sure is that at one point or another, people will come into challenges. So it is important to always be reminded that life will bring hard times, difficult times, and if you aren't someone that is compassionate and empathetic, don't be surprised when compassion and empathy are not knocking at your door. So that to me has, it's taken me some time to realize and see, naturally walking and experiencing and living has allowed for my eyes to open, but may everyone's eyes open around the world. And may there not be differentiations of people. May we understand that if you are someone that's okay with, once again, injustice, don't be surprised when injustice also affects you. So that's all I'm saying, and that's where I'll keep it, because naturally I've always been about I love my Black and brown brothers and sisters. I know there will be challenges throughout this journey in life, and just know that you stay strong and continue to take time for yourself and I feel like in this case, like for me, coming on YouTube has been very much so healing, because this is a journey, a personal journey, but it's also, I'm sure, maybe not the same journey for everyone, but many people, and most importantly, people of color. So as my channel focuses on eradicating colonization and Eurocentrism around the globe. But with that being said, take care. Bye.